Hi, good evening and good morning. It's Pashmina P. with Hasmark Publishing International. And this evening and this morning, I am here with Jamie Naegele. How are you, Jamie?
I'm fantastic. How are you, Pashmina?
I'm good. And today we're going to be talking about your book. So can you tell us a little bit about who are you and what inspired you to write your book?
Yeah, so Who Are You is a book that is designed to help people create happiness in their life. So happiness comes when you love yourself. And, people tell us all the time, just, love yourself and things will fall into place. But no one really teaches us how to love ourselves. And I know in the past, I struggled a lot with hating myself and abusing drugs and alcohol, which never solves the problem. So this past year in 2019, I kind of went on a journey to discover who I am, and I learned to love myself along the way. And so I'm writing a book to help others do the same. So
Wonderful. And Jamie, tell us, who is your biggest inspiration?
my biggest inspiration is anyone who has risked their lives or even their reputation to move humanity in a forward or better position. So people like Einstein or Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., anyone like that. So.
Wonderful. And before you wrote your book, there was a shift in your life, as we know, because we've seen parts of your manuscript, which put you at a crossroad. So can you tell your readers more about how the seed of your writing was born?
Yeah, so the shift that took place was really one of me always trying and searching for the approval of others to only looking for the approval of myself. And I didn't realize at the time that that's what I was doing, but over time I looked back and was like, every time I've been happy, I've been approving of myself instead of looking for other people. So, and it is a process. It's not an event. It's not something that happens overnight. I'm still, working through it and getting better at it. So, but it's just making that shift of when I realize, hey, I'm trying to be cool for other people instead of trying to improve myself, and which is what this book is about. And so that shift led me from loneliness, depression, and insecurity to one of love, happiness, and confidence. So
Beautiful. And what is the biggest takeaway that you want your audience to have from reading your book?
the biggest takeaway, I would say, is that the truest form of who we are loves everything about us. So any insecurities, doubts, or fears that I or anyone else may have doesn't come from us. It comes from the people around us or the people we grew up with, or anything like that, that they projected those insecurities, doubts, and fear onto us, and we thought them as our own. And so a good example that I look at is the baby. So the baby doesn't look at other people and say, they can walk, they just must be better than me, I can't walk either. The baby looks at others and says, they can walk, how can I walk? I'm not be able to walk yet, but that doesn't mean I ever will. I will keep trying until I do. So it's a process of failing, falling down, and getting back up until they learn. So that's kind of how I viewed that. And so it wasn't really until the world got its hands on us, until we start to think, or begin to think that we weren't good enough. So.
And what is one piece of advice you can give your readers when reading your book? What kind of questions would you like them to ponder or ask you?
So the biggest piece of advice I would say is don't just read, do. Take the information you learn in this book and really any book you read and implement it into your life. Applied knowledge is power, power is change, but knowledge is useless if it isn't used. And that sounds obvious, but I think some people read books for inspiration, or because books, are said to have made a lot of CEOs and stuff like that. So, but reading the book really isn't the goal. It's changing our life. So, and then questions to ponder, I would say, what do you think about, or what do you think about yourself when you are by yourself? If you are not staring at what I call a mirror of love, then you've bought into some of the insecurities, doubts, and fears that people have given you. So, and then the only real question to ask me would be, how can I listen to my own heart? So I think everyone's heart or their intuition is, or what people call your gut, has all the answers. It's just a matter of listening to it and ignoring your excuses or your head that sometimes gets in the way. So
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about unmasking yourself, or talking about putting on a lot of masks. You talk about this concept in your book, which, you know, we've had the privilege to read already, or look into. So what are some of the challenges you faced when unmasking yourself?
yeah, so there were a couple challenges. I think the fear of rejection, for sure. When you go from not being yourself to being yourself, the people that reject you are actually rejecting the true you instead of the mask you've been wearing. So that was a big one. And I had to learn that rejection is just redirection into something better. So, and it took the fear of rejection out of the equation sometimes. So at first it was crippling. It wouldn't. I like to stay in my tight little comfort zone, but now I still have it, but it's not as crippling and paralyzing as it once was. Another challenge was financial. So I quit my job back in January and started just to kind of live on odd jobs for a little bit. So I went from thousands of dollars coming in each month to cashing in coins at the coin star to buy groceries, but I was still happier than I had ever been. And so it's all about your perspective and what makes you happy in life.
Wow, that's amazing transformation for sure. And if you could sum up your message in one sentence, what would that be, Jamie?
Love everyone always. So the whole point of this book is to inspire people, to get them to love themselves so that they can love everyone, because you can't give what you don't have. So I truly believe that the only threat to mankind, to our existence, is hate for one another and acting on that hate. So loving everyone always isn't about agreeing with other people or conforming to what other people want for you. It's about forgiveness, empathy, and compassion. It's about understanding that we're all raised with different beliefs and in different environments, and that hating others only brings anger to ourselves and to other people. And so it's an understanding of other people, but not justifying. So I think when people think of understanding and justifying, they think of them as the same thing sometimes. And so you don't have to justify someone's behaviors and still understand where they come from. You can wish them well to find, truth, peace, and love in their hearts, and still tell them that their behavior and actions are ruining the peace and the joy that this world can experience. So.
Wow, such beautiful messages there. And where do you see yourself next, Jamie? And how do you want your message to reach a global market? Do you believe that your message is a universal truth?
So I see myself teaching and speaking these messages to the people who will listen. So I've learned a long time ago that you can't change anyone as much as you want to or try and force to. You can't. You can only give them the tools and the words of encouragement to change themselves. So it's not about what I want for them, it's about what they want for them. And I do believe that everyone in their heart wants peace, truth, and love in their lives. So it's about helping them find that, and however they define it. So, and then as far as the universal truth goes, I think there's only really one universal truth, and that love is our truest form.
So beautiful, Jamie. And these are beautiful things that you're saying and messages that you're conveying to your audience. So do you plan to offer any courses, any workshops? And if so, what do you intend to highlight?
Sure. So I do. I wrote this book pretty quickly on this journey. So I still think that I have a lot of skills to learn before I can start putting on courses and workshops. I don't claim to know that I everything or pretend that I do. So it's all about still developing myself and working on these skills while the book is released. And then I'll for sure open up some courses and some workshops. Some things I like to highlight are forgiveness, relationship, skills to learn, facing fears, loving ourselves and others. So things like that.
That's great. That's great. I mean, every generation needs that. And whatever age we are, I think that's a wonderful way to get your messaging across. And where can your viewers find you and your book?
So the book comes out on Amazon this year. That's when it's scheduled. You can find updates on my social media pages and connect with me. So for the book, the Facebook page is @thebook. Who are you? And then for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, you can find me at genuinelyjamie3. So
Wonderful, Jamie. I can't wait to hold your book in our hands, and I can't wait to read all of it. And you're just an amazing soul. And thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Pashmina.
Thanks, Jamie. Take care. Bye.
All right, bye.